I was born and raised in Easton. I went to all the public schools in Easton, graduated from Easton High School, and I just was fortunate to be able to come back and find a job that I've loved. So I arrived here in January of 1983. We've been in business a long time, as you know, starting in 1914. And when I got here, it was a well-run, well-respected organization. A lot has changed in that time. A lot of it driven by technology, customer needs, but we've seen a lot transpire since 1983. So I guess I'm in my 42nd year and been CEO for 30 of them. I just have had the pleasure of working with the most wonderful people, and everybody's so committed to what we do day in and day out. We asked all of our employees to give us several words that describe what we do, our culture, who we are. And we probably had 60 or 70 different words, and we rank ordered them, did the Wordle sort of thing. Yeah. And the three that came out of that were, I just remembered as ICE: integrity, commitment, and excellence. And that came from the employees. So when you interact with them, we had a lot of customer-facing occasions. We come into your home, you might come to the customer service center, you may talk to us on the telephone. Hopefully ICE comes through every time you have an interaction with our folks. And those are the folks that work here. So it's just been my great privilege to work with such a great team. Yeah. So one of our unstated goals, and I guess I'll state it here, was to be the first county in the state of Maryland to have ubiquitous broadband access. I think we've got a pretty good shot at that. Yeah. We're working hard to that end. I mean, we have funding to go down to Black Walnut Point. If you want to talk about the far reaches of the county. Yeah. The funding was for unserved areas, and that's the funding we pursued. Easton is just a delightful place. That's a statement of the obvious. Having grown up here, sometimes I miss that. So I have a number of friends who have moved here. They could live anywhere they want. Yeah. And oftentimes I ask them, I say, why did you move here? Because when you see it every day, you sort of lose the ability to say, this is great. I remember walking through the farmer's market last year, and I said to Carol that if we didn't live here, we'd have to move here. This is fantastic. So, it's sort of, be more in the moment and take in what's around. I've done a fair amount of travel. You go to other places and there's some very unique attributes. You're like, wow, this is great. But you come back to Easton, and if I can put the proper lens on, it's a delightful place. It's grown a lot, and there's a lot of concern about growth and traffic and those things, and I don't think that's atypical of any community. But if you really stop and look at the downtown, I mean, we have the Avalon, we have fine restaurants, there's so much at the farmer's market. St. Michael's is 10 miles away. I love to go down there. It's just a delightful place. But as I said, I've asked folks who could live anywhere they want, and they live here. And it just reminds me I guess it's a moment of gratitude that you have to take a moment to realize that. Fondest memory might be bringing Rudolph back and putting atop Town. My folks sent me to engineering school, and I think my legacy might be a 16-foot plastic reindeer. I don't think they were contemplating that. But I grew up in Easton, as we spoke of, and when I was a child, Santa Claus would go to Talbot Town on the hook and ladder truck the day after Thanksgiving. The Santa house was there, which we brought back this year. And Rudolph would be atop Talbot Town. And there was a cord that came down to a phone booth, and it heralded the beginning of the holiday season. And I was fascinated with the whole thing. It used to be a very large, I think it was an oak tree in the middle of Talbot Town. Oh, and it would be all lit. And it was just, the whole town would show up for the beginning of the holiday season. And in fact, the cord that ran from Rudolph's phone down to the telephone booth, I just was fascinated with that. And I think maybe that's what drove me to engineering, is how does that actually work? So sometime, it seemed in the 70s or so, maybe even a little earlier, Rudolph met some demise. We're not sure. We've heard a lot of stories ranging from a warehouse fire to who knows what, but he disappeared. So our 100th anniversary was coming up in 2014. So the Christmas of 2013, we found a picture from 1959 in the Star Democrat. We looked at the siding on the building, and we said, okay, that's your scale. We scaled him up and had a company in Atlanta, Georgia, recreate Rudolph. And there was a fun process. They did it first with computer-aided models, and then they did a little clay model and all the sort of thing. And so we finally got him. They laid him on his back, put him in a tractor trailer. He came up here. And ever since then, every Christmas we put him up. The first year that we put him back up, we got a lot of press coverage out of Baltimore and Salisbury. But what was really memorable, Dave, was there were so many folks that came up and said, thank you. As a child, I remember this. And I got hugs and kisses, and it meant a lot to me. I didn't really understand how much it meant to the community. Yeah. And so when you speak of fond memories, it's so different, and it's like I said, it might be my legacy. Who knows?